Welcome to Voodoo Whiskey Gaming, and this is my late review of Gravity Rush Remastered. I played it on the PS4. If you want to play the original Gravity Rush, it's on the PlayStation Vita. Why am I playing Gravity Rush Remastered? Well, that's because Gravity Rush 2 is coming out, and I wanted to review this game and replay this game before the sequel came out. So the story goes, you play as Kat, who is not really named that at the beginning because she has no memory of who she is or how she got where she is, and, well, Gravity Rush is the story of her finding that. The town Kat finds herself in is missing chunks of the town, there's gravity storms, there's these weird creatures called Nevi. There's also another gravity shifter named Raven in town, and, well, she's not exactly a hero. She's not exactly a villain either, she's kind of somewhere in between the two. Kat is also a gravity shifter, and the interesting thing about gravity shifters is they can't exactly fly. But what they can do is fall in any direction they would like to. They can fall straight up, they can fall in any direction other than ground, they can fall to the ground from up. It's kind of a cool power, it's pretty unique. I thought it was a really interesting way of going about their abilities rather than, normal flying. It's falling up. Kat soon discovers that there's kind of a greater threat to the town. And so, well, that's kind of where the story goes, finding out what that greater threat is and dealing with it. When it comes to the audio, I really enjoyed the audio in this game. There's not really any voiceover work, there's very minimal voiceover work, and the quality of it doesn't matter so much, simply because all of the spoken stuff is in some, weird gibberish language, but the inflection of what's getting said does come across, so it works at the end of the day. Otherwise, the sound effects, the music, all of that, I think it's good. It really fits the game. I like the sounds for when you're gravity shifting and when you're doing the different things, fighting the monsters. I like the sound effects of the characters around town. I think they're pretty funny. I don't know, it just gives a bit of cute character to this game. Now, when it comes to the gameplay mechanics and controls and whatnot, it's an interesting game. It's definitely an action, sort of free roam game. It's not a huge space to move around in because, well, this was a PlayStation Vita game originally. But there are side missions, side challenges, as well as your main story missions, people to talk to around the town, and, of course, things to collect. The things you collect are predominantly for powering yourself up. Now, with your character being a gravity shifter, that obviously plays a huge role in the mechanics of the game. You can use your powers for all sorts of missions. You can pick things up, take them to certain places, or you can use them in combat. And by or, I mean you absolutely have to use them in combat to deal with flying enemies and just all sorts of enemies, because when you're doing gravity kicks versus your regular standing on the ground kicks, it's way more powerful. That having been said, it can get really, really hectic. I mean, it can just get very hard to see where you need to hit, as well as disorienting, I would say. Mostly disorienting because you can be in the air, but you're upside down, and your enemy is on the ground, and you're at a weird angle to them. It gets a little disorienting at times. Actually, it gets really disorienting at times. I definitely found myself playing like this sometimes, trying to figure out where the ground was relative to what I was doing. It's not just in combat, though. When you're traveling the world using these gravity powers, because it's way faster than running, it still gets disorienting at times, especially when you're looking for the collectibles, because you're traveling up, down, left, right, side to side, above ground, underground. It gets a little nuts. So sometimes you're like, am I upside down? Am I right side up? Wait, what's up? What's down? It gets a little confusing at times, but I mean, it's very easily solved. All you do is hit a button, voila, you turn off your gravity powers, and you'll quickly find if you're on top of the world, under the world, left, right, side to side, up, or down, because you'll just start falling towards Earth, or towards the natural, gravity. As for the controls, I think they're very good. I think they work very well. I didn't run into any major issues. I did feel like at times maybe the controls were sloppy, but that's specifically when I was using the sliding power. The controls aren't always dead on right there, but they are more than good enough. There wasn't anything that felt unnatural while using the controller setup that they gave you, so I don't have any major complaints with it, and it responded very well for the most part. Now, when it comes to visually, this is a more cartoony looking game. Obviously, those are graphically easier, so it was easier on the PS Vita, so they kept that style when they just did the remastered version. And it looks good. I do like it. I think it looks very good. I have a 4K TV, and it looked very crisp and clean on that TV. Nothing looked awkward. I've seen a few times where they've taken a mobile game and tried to put it on big screen, and it just looks weird. But not in the case of this game. They do a weird mix when it comes to the cutscenes of there are some that are like fully acted out, but then the vast majority, I would say, are done in this like comic book cell kind of styles, which I do enjoy. I actually like it. I am definitely okay with that. There was one weird thing, because the PS Vita could tilt and you could do things like that with it, the cells would like shift and rotate when you would do that. And that was fine, and they kept that in the remastered version, so when you tilt and twist your controller around, the cells still do that. The one thing was, I was watching a cutscene, and the cells were just doing that, and I wasn't doing anything with my controller, and it was a little distracting. It obviously didn't ruin anything, but it was a weird glitch that was kind of obnoxious. While I do like the visual style, I am going to say that because this was a PlayStation Vita game, it's obviously not going to be like the peak of graphical quality. It's not going to be the most realistic, breathtaking landscapes you've ever seen, but I like the unique art style that they used to make up for that. Also, there's definitely a way that you can tell that this is a very Japanese game, because Kat has some extra outfits that, I mean, they just hit some Japanese points, you know, like the Western maid costume. Or you can also run around in a schoolgirl costume. And, well, I mean, I think it fits with most games, but her normal outfit isn't like the most practical thing you've ever seen either. Honestly, at the end of the day, though, if you're looking for an interesting little action-adventure game, I definitely think this is a good one to go with. It's not super expensive. It's a lot of fun to play. I recommend it. And now for a non sequitur. So in the comments below, why don't you tell me if you get the reference on my hoodie? And as always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button. And if you like what I'm doing in general, share, subscribe. Have a good one.